When it said tears fled the head, I'm weak, not dead, she tweet, I guess she confess, she thinking less, not drinking less, bathroom sex, best it gets, spontaneous, I stereotype, put to rest tonight, imagine, believe, and achieve, it works, Skyline as a rise like fireworks, smell through the back, don't
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of After the Storm. Of course, it is Thunder Thursday, and remember, everybody, 3 weeks from today, what is it? You know what 3 weeks from today is? I know what 3 weeks from today is. Do you guys know what 3 weeks from today is? 3 weeks from today is one simple thing. It's the NBA draft. Thursday, June 23rd. A huge monumental day for Oklahoma City Thunder basketball. But like I said, it's Thunder Thursdays. Welcome to After the Storm. I'm your host, Matt Clark. And we're going to be discussing the Thunder, who they like, who we like for the Thunder, who we think they should take, what are the options, what does the Thunder have, and who can best benefit the Thunder then moving forward. And like we've talked about before, last year's draft was absolutely fantastic for the Thunder in the draft class, which we really, the draft class that we had last year, here it is. We got Josh Giddey average 12.5. You had Trey Mann at 10.4, Aaron Wiggins at 8.3, and Robinson Earl at 7.5. And remember, Jeremiah Robinson Earl got hurt. Aaron Wiggins was hurt for a little bit, but he kind of started off slow. He had a nice stretch in there where he had, I think it was probably 8 to 10 games where he was in double figures and dang near double rebounds every time. So he had really got into a groove. And then he got hurt, and it kind of got him off track where he was. But anyway, I love our group of players. I love what we have here at the Thunder. And like I said, our top 6 players to me is very strong. You've got SGA clearly at the top. Then you have Josh. Then you have Dort. Then you have Wiggins, Trey Mann, and Jeremiah Robinson Earl. So you've got a very, very good nucleus. And remember that draft class last year, 3 of those guys started for the Thunder this year. Now, even though the under over for the Thunder as far as wins was 17, which I thought was ridiculous. And but me, like everybody else, I didn't know what the Thunder were going to bring. I didn't want to go to the Thunder games the first because I'm just like, I don't know anybody on the team, because remember, Thunder were the only team that did not allow fans back in the stands after the All-Star break of last year. So I didn't know who the Thunder were going to have. I didn't know anything about our players. I didn't know what kind of team we were going to have. And then all of a sudden, I went to a few games. And I was talking about, oh, man, gone to the Thunder, man, have you watched them play? Everybody's like, who is on our team? And so I started telling them about what I saw, and everybody's like, well, man, you know what? Why don't you do a show, or why don't you talk about that? So my guy Mark Long and I got together, and we started talking. Talked to my boy Randy Wright at YMB, and they were like, hey, man, why don't you just do a show and talk about that, a podcast? Well, we don't have a podcast. What we have is a live stream. We're live. We're just like being on the radio, except you can see my face, or being on TV, but you can see my face, or being on TV where you can see my face. It's the exact same thing. Like, you can watch, it's the same as First Things First, or The Undisputed, or Stephen A. Smith Show, whatever it is. It's the same as that, except that we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitch. But it's the same type of thing. We're not on a national, we're not on ESPN or Fox Sports or anything like that. But it's basically the same type of show, same type of thing, just like being on a radio, except you can see me versus just listening to me. Anyway, so I started talking about the Thunder and what I saw and what I liked and what I didn't like. And then all of a sudden people are like, man, I really like it. And then so the main thing that I want to take from what I'm doing is the fact that most people do understand sports, and they do understand basketball, but they're not knowledgeable enough or not confident enough in themselves to where they can really go, oh, man, I was right because they didn't play the game or whatever. And then listening to my live streams, what has basically happened is people and me telling them things that they knew but weren't confident enough that they were right, validated what they were saying. And then as they were going to games after listening and watching my live stream, they were able to go to these games and go, man, that's what he was talking about, or oh, I see that now, or oh, this, because my job is different than the Thunder's broadcast job. My job is not to tell you how rosy it is and how beautiful it is when it's not. But when it is good, you talk about how good the Thunder are and all that stuff. So that's my job. But when the Thunder mess up or something bad happens, my job is to tell you that they're not very good or they're not doing this right or whatever. That's my job, and that's what I do. And I made numerous examples of what makes me different than what the Thunder broadcast is, simply because I am one of these people that I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to speak I have no financial tie to them or whatever. I can tell you I don't have to toe the Thunder line. That's not what I have to do. So I really like what I do. I like the freedom of this, and we're starting to add more and more sponsors to our thing because of I'm speaking the truth, but yet at the same time I'm not slamming the Thunder because I love the Thunder. Like I said, my number one team's the Lakers, 1A are the Thunder. So I love what we're doing, but at the same time, I want us to succeed. And for me, what I've always said when it comes to this draft is simple. When the Thunder first got to Oklahoma City, you remember we weren't that very good. So we had KD and Jeff Green. That wasn't enough. Then we added Russell. And then we added Harden. Then we added Ibaka. Then we added Steven Adams. And by the time we added Steven Adams, we were already a juggernaut without Steven Adams. And so when you look at what the Thunder did, the Thunder philosophy was drafting NBA-ready players. After that draft, when you go through and we look at the Thunder first-round picks, you go Kevin Durant, Jeff Green, Russell. 2007, you got Durant and Green. 2008, Russell. 2008, Serge Ibaka. 2009, Harden. Then you went Cole Aldridge, Reggie Jackson, Perry Jones, Archie Goodwin. Then, boom, here comes Steven Adams. Then you went Mitch McGary, Cam Payne, Terrence Ferguson, Darius Baisley, and then, of course, we got Poku in there right after Baisley in 2020 before we got Josh Giddey, and then Trey Mann. And, so think about that for a moment. Look at where we started, and then we started rolling. Then look at your draft picks after we started rolling, after we were going, and then you look at the end, okay? You had Cole Aldridge, Reggie Jackson, arguably Reggie's still playing, so Reggie's okay. He and Russell just didn't get along, and that's basically why Reggie had to leave. But you look at Cole Aldridge waste, Perry Jones waste, Archie Goodwin waste, Houston waste, Mitch McGary waste, Cam Payne really waste, Terrence Ferguson waste, Darius Baisley waste. That's 8 draft picks, first-round picks that were just, are you serious? So you went Kevin Durant, you went 8 draft picks, 5 in between Steven Adams. And I'll take that back. Cole, Reggie, Perry, Archie. So you went 4, and then you went Houston, McGary, Payne, Ferguson, 5. So then you went 4 years in between, losing draft picks that were whatever. Then you went 5 in between before you got Josh Giddey and Trey Mann. So now we're hopefully back in that trend like we were in the beginning. And when you look at that, if you take that in consideration, then you look at, okay, here's what the Thunder started with. This is when we got good. Then once we really got good, we really didn't do kind of what Golden State does and what Miami does. They get good, and what they do is they continue with that trend of players. So you don't go, all these guys good, then you have a lull in between, and then all of a sudden you're back to going good again. So that's where the Thunder's at now. This draft is so important that that it's just crazy, because I just believe that what we have this year and what's available is crazy. And we're welcomed right now by my boy Drew Henthorn of HuskerDrewPicks.com. What's going on, big fella? Drew, are you there? I can hear him. I guess he just went away. Uh, but anyway, when you look at what we have first round and what are our options for this year, and the Thunder has, I mean, uh, Drew, are you there?
Yeah, trying to dial into you, buddy. How we doing?
Oh, good, good. I was just talking about how the Thunder, like you and I talked about how they went those first few years, what they drafted, Green, Westbrook, Harden, Ibaka, and then they had a 4-year lull before they got Steven Adams. Now we're in we went a 5-year lull before we got Josh Giddey and Trey Mann. But now this year we really have an opportunity to continue the trend that the Thunder started to get the Thunder rolling, and how important that is for this draft and for the options that they have for players.
I definitely agree with you there. But do you think this draft has the players in there that can match that kind of first offering that you're speaking of?
Well, I don't see any of these guys being Hall of Famers. Now, Kevin Durant we saw as a potential Hall of Famer. Russell Westbrook and James Harden we did not see as potential Hall of Famers. Agreed?
I agree. You think James Harden's a Hall of Famer?
James Harden's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Okay.
I don't really like him
First
as
ballot?
a person.
First ballot?
Man, I wouldn't give him first ballot, but I would put him in.
Right. Well, Westbrook's going to be a first ballot.
Westbrook and KD are first ballot Hall of Famers. That's a
Correct.
given. And Westbrook's the Hall of Famer simply because of triple double.
Yep.
And my problem with that is now that you look at him as a Laker, all of his flaws that he's always had are really shining through. And these are things that people did not notice. And so now they're glaring. So how much triple-double stuff was there really there? Because when he actually has to play on a team, he does not have a triple-double. Remember, when Kevin Durant was here, there was no triple-doubles.
Nope.
Triple-doubles only came when he was doing everything. He was playing out of position because he's all about the numbers. And it worked. So, but anyway, that's kind of how I look at that, and we'll see how that plays out. But anyway, I started the show off, Drew, when I was talking about guess what is 3 weeks from today, brother.
3 weeks from today, got to be the draft.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I'm looking at the Oklahoma City Thunder draft options. And I'm looking at the picks because, remember, we have the first round, we have a second pick, we have the 12th pick, we have the 30th pick, and we have the 34th overall pick.
You got to figure they move that 34th pick to try to package 30 and 34 together to move up in the first round to get another first rounder, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, we talked about it. If we can get – my dream would be Banchero at 2 and Jalen Duren at 12.
Right.
Because then you went athletic – you can shoot the ball. He can attack the basket. He's very skilled as far as handling the ball, passing the ball. You don't have to worry about him bringing the ball up the floor, or Josh and SGA bringing the ball up the floor, pressure against pressure every single time. He can bring the ball up the floor and still run the offense.
Yep.
So that gives you that advantage. And then you've got Jalen Duren, 6'10", athletic as hell. You got a rim protector. So now all of a sudden you got really two guys who can protect the rim. You come flying in there, which basically could every now and then when he was in position to do so. But he wasn't, I don't know, smart enough, basketball savvy enough, let's say that. He wasn't basketball savvy enough to understand where he should be and what he should do when the ball's
Well,
going to
I tell you
the
what, if they put those pieces around him, Giddy's going to have a career.
Oh, dude, I tell everybody all day long, if you put those two, then all of a sudden the scenario you gave with the 30th and 34th pick, you can go get an NBA proven shooter.
Yep.
There's guys out there can perform under pressure, and you go get him, and you give up that.
With some teams that have him that would be willing to let go of him for 2 picks in the top 34.
Yeah, well, unfortunately for us, the Lakers are not one of those teams.
No, and unfortunately, again, we don't have anybody who can shoot the ball.
No, the Lakers have nobody who can shoot the ball, so there's nothing we can do there. And so that really limits that. Now, next week I'm going to get into detail more about here are the shooters that are around the league that possibly you could do your 30th and 34th pick for, or do you go ahead in the draft and you find some college guys who can shoot it, because there's guys who can shoot it. Now, they can't do nothing else. Like Cal Korver. Boy can't play defense to save his life, but he can shoot it. But if he gets in the game and he's cold, you pull him right back out.
Right.
But if he's hot, you can leave him in the game and say, go to work, big fella. Do what you do. So that was huge for me as far as my philosophy with the Thunder, because at that point, you've got how many guys? You'll have 10 guys under the age of 6? 27, you have 10. I mean, everybody's reaching
that gives you a window to make a run.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be next year. It'd be that next year when they've all played together, and that gives you Josh Giddey and SGA would have played together for 3 years with Trey Mann and along with Giddey.
Then what you're also going to have is you're going to have the Western Conference start getting older. Your Golden State's going to be older. Your Clippers are going to be older.
Yeah. Lakers are going to be older.
That can even be possible.
Well, let's call the Lakers ancient. They'll be ancient by then. But then you have a young Golden State squad, kind of, because, you got Poole and those guys. But I don't think Poole can carry them the way that Clay and Steph did. So I think you got that. Now, the team, to me, the upcoming team will be Memphis. Boy, they're young and they're talented. Boy, they got shooters. And they said they were trying to move Steven Adams. And I'm like, why would you move Steven Adams? He's a fourth guy, but he gives you so many extra rebounds and so many extra chances at the basket. Why would you get rid of Steven?
Minnesota's coming up, too.
Yeah, Minnesota's coming up. But, our boy Karl Anthony Towns is getting a little long in the tooth. What will he be then, 29?
Right.
Which is that's sad when you think 29 is old. That's sad when you think 29 is old. He's
got a lot of 29 miles on him, too, though. He's got no help.
No, he does not. He does not have any help. But anyway, so here are our things. You and I have talked about, 3 weeks from today, arguably the most important date in Thunder history as far as basketball is concerned will be the 3 weeks from today. And I've got a list of their deals. Okay, now we know our top picks are obviously Jabari and Banchero, and Jalen Duren is going to be our center of 12. Now, you love Jaden Ivory, and so do I. But he's not a number 2 pick. And he won't be there at 12.
He might be. Wait, how's that? You think he's going to be there at 12?
He won't be there at 12.
No.
He won't be there at 12. Shaden Sharp might be there at 12. I don't think Keegan Murray will be there at 12 at all.
He might be. Just kind of depends on what some of those European guys. I don't know a whole lot about the European guys in the draft, but as I was reading, there's a few of them in there that could sneak into the top 10.
Yeah, well, I hope so because, hey, bring in those guys because they can't play. So bring in all them European guys you want. Get as many of them as you can so that gives your Thunder more options. And also for the Thunder, if you can move up and you've got a guy that you want at 20-something and you have the 30th and 34th pick, go get him.
Right.
If there's, because you and I both believe Johnny Davis, he's doing commercials for Taco Bell. And I'm like, hey, he may be a top 10 or he may not. He can shoot it. But I just I'm not going to harp about the Chet thing because, I'm on fire about that. I'm on fire about Chet. I mean, I don't think you can go get a guy who's you've got Poku.
And Oladipo might be available after his performance.
I don't like Oladipo. He's just not. I mean, he did good when he was here, but even though him and Russell didn't really mesh. I mean, he still did good, but I'm not an Oladipo fan. Plus, he's too old. I'm not going to trade my 30th to 34th pick for him.
No, I'm just saying if you could maybe pick him up in free agency, maybe not wait till 30, 34 on a shooter and go grab him. It's an option.
Yeah, but
I think he's going to be available.
Well, if he's available in free agency, maybe. And that can give you another chance to use one of those picks for some big or another big guy that's sitting out there. But what I'm gonna do next, Drew, is next week I'm gonna put down my picks for what are the other guys that are available, shooters wise that are available in the league that you can possibly do your 30th or 34th pick for. Then in addition to that, who are big men that are in the league that you can maybe trade your 30th or 34th pick that you might want to trade that for. Now your 34th
Or
maybe.
who's coming out next year where you can snap somebody's first round pick next year.
Yeah, yeah, do that. Give up these two for next year's pick. So, anyway,
See what you got before you go waste 2 picks. See what you got. You got it because Thunder how many number 1 picks next year? 2.
2.
So if they could add another one, then you got 3 in the first round next year.
Yeah,
See what you got this coming year, which you're probably not going to make the playoffs, but if you can definitely figure out what you need.
Well, now this year, if we draft correctly, we make the playoffs.
They'll be right on it.
I mean, because the over and under, remember, was 17 this year. I said it was going to be 27.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that there's 10, not 8.
Yeah, so 10. We could have been in a 10 had we not everybody got hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it ended up working out well for us. But of us not going 4, what were we? 4 and 6 in our last 10 games with playing nobodies.
Right.
I mean, if you don't do that, you're tied with Houston basically. But you know what? The thing couldn't have got any better for the Thunder. This fly man is wearing me out of here. I want to give me a fly swatter and swat the hell out of it. I hate flies. But anyway.
Where are you at today?
I'm still at the gym. Yeah. Your cousin Hoagie came in here and he was busting them up again today. And then Shannon.
Busting them up.
Yeah, Shannon was running his mouth. So we're going to train. Tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to train them before I go over to.
Not going to be too long for Hoagie and I just bust Shanny up every Thanksgiving and Christmas. He's not going to be able to do much about it.
Well, today he wanted to go 1 on 17 in the, king of the court where everybody dribbles and you slap the ball away. You remember that game, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, Shannon and Eli Jones are in the bottom, and so they're in the middle at center court. Well, Shannon just, pushes him out. Just pushes him out. I was like, come on, man. Why are you going to cheat? And he goes, well, he needs to get stronger. Really? Now,
I can tell you why you're going to cheat. He was taught by the best of them. He got handed down many generations.
Oh, is that what you're going to go with? Is that a Drew
Randy handed it down to me, and I handed it down to Shannon.
Well, he's handing it down to Hogan. I can promise you that. or should we say Hayden? Even though Hayden's playing girls
County
basketball.
Way right there. That is the Canadian County Way.
That is just blowing me away, man. But anyway, okay, let's get into your picks today, brother.
Yep.
The Drew Henthorne picks for the week. Where are you at, Drew? I got to find you.
Start right there with Golden State tonight. And hey, by the way, I'm just riding your Dodgers, and they're killing me. They're taking all my coins, all my winnings, and I'm just giving it right back.
Well, you know why? Because they know you really don't like them. They know you really don't like them. Drew.
They got beat by.
They know you really don't like them. That's what it is. They ain't give you no love. You ain't just saying. We already know.
I need them to win this weekend. They got a 4-game set against the Mets. I really like to see the Braves close on the Mets to about 5 games here before the 4th of July.
Okay, well, here we go. I got you right here, Drew. We got the Warriors -3, which I like. Because we know if you're going to steal a game, it's always game 1, isn't it? Especially if one team has had some rest. Mm-hmm. Golden State -1. What are you in first quarters this year? 8-1 or something? 9-1, 10-2.
I lost. That is an absolute.
Did you lose this? You lost the last. You lost to Boston. You lost Boston Heat, right?
Where Boston just came out and throttled them in the first.
Okay, so you have Golden State -1. Then you like the over?
So the first quarter, I look for Golden State to jump on them. I do like the over.
Dude, the over though, Drew. I mean,
only 213.
I know that's a lot though, isn't it? Are the Celtics going to be able to consistently score?
Golden State averages 116 points a game. Golden State averages 116 points a game. I mean, if you got them winning by 3, which I do, I just think that they're not going to know what to do with the Golden State in game 1. They're going to have to get used to it. They've been playing a bunch of guys can't shoot the ball.
Yeah, haven't they?
Yeah. I mean, Golden State, you get up on them. I don't know. It's a tricky line, but I like the over. I think it'll be close, but I like the over.
Yeah.
I love Golden State -3.
Yeah, me too. I like that. Okay, you got Dodgers. Okay.
Yeah, Dodgers are playing the Mets.
-171. You got Braves 145, minus
And the
145.
over in
You
that-
like the over in that, huh?
Yeah, that's up in Bandbox in Colorado. Everything will fly out of that yard.
Yeah, and then you got Rangers over 8, and it didn't pop up on the screen because I'm using my laptop, and I couldn't get all the picks in.
And
So
the Rangers over the 8 is just the typical Rangers over the
yeah,
number because they go over every time.
I saw that. All right, now it's cracking me up. Well, we're gonna take Drew. We're gonna take this break to thank our boys, our people, boys and ladies at Y&B, family owned and operated since 1912.
It's the bank that makes things happen.
Yes, they do. You go pre-qualify online for any loans that you might want with them at www.ynbok.com. That's
Or you can stop in there and say
www.ynb.
hi to Carolyn. She'd love to see you.
Yeah, she would. Well, they saw him Tuesday, and of course your uncle running his mouth in behind me in the scenes. Hope it all got picked up, all that crap that he was saying behind me.
No,
all that
Randy.
nonsense. Yeah, we know where you get it from. You already said where you get it from, so we already know, brother. All that trash talking. Anyway, anyway, we want to thank them for sponsoring our minority and black-owned businesses. Of course, tomorrow you already know where we're going to be. Tomorrow I got to get my hair trimmed up, so you already know where we're going to be tomorrow at Cutting Up Barbershop at the barbershop. Yes, we will. Everybody's all fired up and ready for that. And then, of course, we want to thank our other sponsors, Collaborative Logic, which I'm going to go see those guys so they can get all the speakers and all that stuff set up so that people can actually hear you when you're calling in, when you're not with me. The people can actually hear what you're saying in our conversation. Because right now, if I don't repeat it, they can't really hear anything you're saying. So we're going to work on that.
You talk about on the live feeds?
Yes, they can't hear what you're saying. I mean, I can, and I can just turn around and sell them, but they'll be able to hear you and I's whole conversation. So I've got to go back. That's what I'm doing. As soon as I get done with this, I'm heading down there so they can help me with that.
That's great. Is it?
Yep, it's going to make things a lot better because people can hear you, and especially at the barbershop. That's why I really want, so they can really hear your mouth and hear all the crap you're saying, and so they can go back and forth because you can hear them, but they can't hear you. So we're going to fix it.
Especially when Tiny Archibald comes in that green sweatshirt he is.
He won't be there tomorrow, I don't think. Hey, that reminds me, what is going to be the question? Well, let me finish this and let me get through this. Anyway, Collaborative Logic, if you have any IT solutions, SRB for engineering, surveying, and planning, Oak Grove Trucking, and, of course, people over at NAFCO. So, okay, what is going to be your question for tomorrow?
Well,
Or you need more time to think about it?
Ball or baseball?
No, we're talking about like, what did you have last year? What was the last week you had? If Jenny Buss was on the
last week was if you'd make the trade. Well, you make the
would
trade.
you make the trade?
With,
So
LeBron, Westbrook, and AD for KD and Kyrie.
Right. Oh, by the way, did you see? They got a list. They got a hold of KD's whatchamacallit, his web searches. How do you request a trade? What is the housing market in Boston?
Top 10 website searches by Kevin Durant.
Yes. It had, and the last one was Pornhub, which I just bust out loud. I was like, wow. So y'all just had to throw that in there, huh? So, yeah, but anyway, it had, Boston housing market, where can you get a home? And I'm like, dude, I would trade Jaylen Brown and Robert Williams for KD in a heartbeat.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're
to
not
go with Jason Tatum, I would care.
Well,
I would keep Marcus.
Brooklyn's not going to make that trade.
No, they're not. No. But yesterday, Drew, I'm breaking it down yesterday, and do you know that the Lakers, they took. This is their back-to-back picks. They took Brandon Ingram instead of Jaylen Brown. Mm-hmm. The very next draft, they took Lonzo Ball instead of Tatum.
Now, the Ingram's pretty good, man.
No, I agree.
He's coming around. He had a great year last year. What did he average? 26 points a game?
Yeah, now I agree. But of course, Zion wasn't there, so that's going to drop when Zion comes back.
Right.
And with CJ,
Well, I got a feeling that if Zion's not there, that's only going to help Ingram. If
I
Zion's
agree.
in the lineup healthy, he's going to spread the floor.
Yeah, but the problem is Ingram's not going to be able to shoot as much.
Right.
So that's going to cut down on his scoring average.
But it's also going to help. It's going to help Ball.
Yeah, it will. It'll help Ball, but C.J. McCollum is, dude. He's a baller, man. I love C.J. McCollum. When I understand that he was leaving, and I know Dame Lillard is the next one to go from there. But that being said, I was breaking it down. Can you imagine if you had Ingram and Jason Tatum?
Yeah.
So, in other words, what Boston could have had, they listened to the pressure. The Lakers caved into the pressure to take Lonzo Ball instead of Jason Tatum.
Mm-hmm.
Then you don't need LeBron and AD at that point. You just keep putting people around that.
Yeah, that's a bad decision there. And then, Ball was a project at best.
Yeah,
he wasn't NBA ready.
Well, that's
his brother's going to be better than he is.
Well, that was my point was. You've got this with the Thunder, the same thing. If you take Chet, you're not going to recover from that. No. You're not going to recover from that if you take him. You're not going to recover. You're just not.
And he's not really a playmaking big man.
No.
He's just.
And he doesn't
I don't
have
know really
the body.
what he is. I'm not sure exactly what he fits into. He's a 7-footer that can pop and shoot. He doesn't play defense. He's not the greatest rebounder.
But Drew,
I don't really call him just being the assist leader for Gonzaga.
Yeah, but like I tell people, when you play against guys who are NBA ready, your numbers are garbage.
Yeah, he's gonna get pushed around too.
You're gonna get pushed. First of all, if you can't defend in the league, you're in trouble because they're just gonna go at you. And if you're not like Steph Curry, where you're making shots on the other end that can allow a team to say, okay, it's okay if you don't play defense. It's like the Mavericks. Who does Luka play? The weakest guy.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
And the reason why they were so successful against Phoenix, they could put him in a corner and put him on somebody who didn't move. Well, against Golden State, who are you going to put him on? Nobody's standing still. Everybody's moving. So he had to constantly move, and it ended up hurting him in the end. So the question is, does Luka get in shape? But my point was the whole Laker thing was to get back on the Thunder. If you make the wrong decision and you take Chet, it's going to cost this franchise because you're listening to pressure. And I come down to one simple thing, Drew. If the guy who played with him in high school and college is on the team that has the number 1 overall pick, if they don't take him, that tells you everything you need to know.
Right.
It tells you everything you know. This kid, I played with him in high school and in college. And if they don't take him, it tells you everything you need to know. He's letting them know, this guy ain't NBA ready. And he's not.
No.
He's not. So, anyway, you and I have already went over all that mess and got it done. So, anyway, is there anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to bring up?
Yeah,
brother?
let's look at let's look at these matchups we got in Boston and Golden State and see get your thoughts on who has the advantage at each position.
Okay. Well, we're looking at here the bracket. You got Golden State and Boston. And when I look at these two teams and look at their road to get there.
Hey, good call, by the way, too, because I had Miami and Dallas.
Yeah, I had Golden State and Boston is what I had. And, like I said, Drew.
Someone's got to go other than Chalk, on this show and step out on a limb. And
well, you stepped out on a limb. I did, but it broke me down. But this is my thing. When you look at the two best players for Boston, Jaylen Brown is, people talk about how great Jaylen Brown to me is sometimey. He disappeared for the most part when it counted against Miami.
Yeah,
He's been so-so.
Good game 6.
Yeah.
Helped him.
Jason Tatum, does his thing, but he still will disappear. and not have a good game and just make bonehead decisions, because that's Jason Tatum to me.
He cannot disappear against Golden
He
State,
cannot.
or they'll get buried.
And this is my breakdown. Boston has to have 3 people in order to beat Golden State. Jason Tatum has to do Jason Tatum stuff. He has to have 30 with, 9 boards and 5 assists. Okay, and shoot, 11 for 21 or 23 or something like that. Jaylen Brown has to go match it for 25 or 27. Then
I would agree with that. But if Smart gets you 19 to 20, Brown can get you 19 to 20.
Well, that's what I was saying. Then you'd have to have Horford, Williams, Grant Williams, or Marcus Smart take up. So you're going to have that third person getting you 20.
Yeah.
Okay. You got to have those
White's going to have to come in there and get you 8 to 10.
But I'm just saying, from the groups that are going to go against each other, you got to have that. Now with Boston, you can afford to do White, Smart, Horford, Brown, and Tatum, and then you're going against Steph, Clay, Draymond, Poole, and Wiggins. And if I'm looking at that group, and you're looking at that matchup, which at the end of games you probably will, that's my issue. You got to have these other guys step up, because at Golden State, Steph's going to do what Steph's going to do. Okay, Clay, he reminds me of Jaylen Brown. He's you don't know what you're really going to get with him. He's kind of whatever. Jordan Poole, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get 18 to 22 or 25 out of Jordan Poole on average. Now, he might have that game he goes against 40. Go ahead.
And you got to figure he'll match up with Smart, don't you think?
Yeah, he and Marcus will go.
Yeah. Because you can afford to put Poole on Smart, because you got Thompson, keep fresh legs and shoot the ball.
Yeah, because this is the way I look at it. Jaylen Brown he and either Klay Thompson or Wiggins will go at each other. Okay.
So who's got the advantage, Poole or Smart? If you're gonna give a check mark to either team, Poole or Smart.
Poole.
Okay.
And this is why he's a more consistent scorer than Marcus is.
Yeah.
Defensively, clearly I'm gonna give it to Marcus without question.
Yeah.
But offensively and skill set and be able to put points on the board consistently, Jordan Poole. Marcus can score and Marcus can put points on the board clearly. But on a consistent game in and game out, and I hope Marcus doesn't get caught into he did, I did, he did. I hope he doesn't get caught in it, because he's not Poole. He's not as skilled as Poole is, because he plays a different role. His role is to put the ball into Jaylen Brown's hands where he scores most. Jason Tatum's hands where he scores most. Al Horford in the corner for him to knock down that corner 3. Grant Williams, same thing. And then, of course, Robert Williams, just to go in there and beat the hell out of Draymond and Looney.
Right.
That's what you do. But to break it down, Drew, is, to me, you have to have 2 people go with Jason Tatum. And Jason has to go get 28 to 30 minimum. And then he has to have 2 guys go with him. That one is in 25. They have to have 3 either at scoring 20 points a game, or 2 in the high 20s and 1 around 18 to 20. If you do that, then you're all golden. So that's kind of how
who on Boston picks up Curry?
You got to put Marcus Smart on Curry.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, who else you going to put? I mean, you can put Dana on him. You can put him on him.
Mike.
You got to put Pritchard on him for a little bit. You can put Pritchard on him for a little bit.
So then you got Thompson and Brown.
Right.
Where are you putting your check mark there?
Clay's experience over Jaylen.
Okay.
For now. Now, next year or the year after, I think it'll be a little closer, and I think it's a flip. But right now, I'm going to have to give it to Thompson, simply because he's played in, 140 playoff games or something, 170 playoff games, something stupid. number of playoff games. So what do
And
I?
it's-
Yeah, go ahead.
And then we're going to say, obviously, Clay, and then obviously Curry's going to get a check mark. So you
Yeah.
got the full backcourt and the swing all going to Golden State.
Correct.
And then you got Horford against Draymond.
Draymond does so much more, but defensively, they're both equal defensively. I think I give the edge to Draymond.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm gonna give Jason Tatum the edge over Wiggins.
Wiggins.
Yes,
Yep,
I'm gonna give
me too.
Jason Tatum the edge over Wiggins. And then the problem is the next guy then is you still got Jordan Poole.
Yep.
And
you still got Porter coming off the bench.
Yeah, and you got
Looney.
And then who do you? Well, Looney and Robert Williams will go against each other.
80s, yeah.
Okay, and then you've got Grant Williams going against either Poole or Otto. Now, who do you take, Grant Williams or Jordan Poole?
Oh, I'd have to give it to Jordan Poole.
Yes. But you know what? Grant Williams is going to have one of those games like he did against Brooklyn. You know, where he's going to make, or Milwaukee, where he's going to have 8 threes.
I mean, that's
or
a pretty
7
good
threes.
matchup. I mean, I'd give Poole the advantage on the offensive, and I'd give Williams the advantage on the defensive end.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's going to be.
Williams can guard anybody on the floor, damn near.
Yeah, he can. Well, with Golden State, the problem is the problem with Boston is, like I think you talked about this Tuesday. The problem with Boston is when you're trying to switch and do all that, Golden State's going to know you're going to switch, and they know they're going to take advantage of that matchup. When you switch and they get the matchup they want, you're in trouble. And they're going to exploit right away.
They got 4 guys that can take you off the dribble.
Yep, and they're not going to sit back and go, let me launch threes. They're not going to do that. And you have no rim protector. And you saw what they did to Dallas. If you don't have a rim protector, Golden State is not going to shoot 40 threes. If you don't have a rim protector, they're going to attack the basket if you don't have rim protector. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they average 50 points a game in the paint against Dallas. 50. Drew, that's a lot of points for a three-point shooting team. So that's what I'm saying. The problem with Boston is if you go small and they go small, your smalls better be knocking down shots. Now I'm talking about Grant Williams and
Boston's going to have to control the tempo of the game. They can't get out and run with Golden State.
They can't.
They're going to have to be in a half-court set. They're going to have to be living
well, Drew,
slowing the game down.
It comes down to this. Golden State is going to make a 3 to 5 minute run. And you have to weather that 3 to 5 minute run. You cannot get caught up in a three-point shooting. When they start knocking down 2 and 3 threes in a row, if you try to shoot threes with them, you're done. You have to score 3 to 2. You got to keep them in reach when they go through that 3 to 5 minute run where they're going to make 4 out of 6, 6 out of 9. You've got to score at least 4 times out of that deal. You got to at least get 2 points minimum. You know what I'm saying, Drew? If you score 2 trips or 3 trips out of that 9 trips, and you know they're 6 or 3s, you're in trouble.
I mean, Boston can ill afford if Golden State makes 2 or 3 shots to go down and brick a few and go into a slump like they've been doing all playoffs. They just haven't been playing teams that can step on their throat.
Right. That's exactly right. And then let's face it, Drew, what scares me about Boston more than anything is at the end of the game. What are y'all doing? Do you not have any kind of plan to score and to stop people at the end? What is your strategy? Do they have one, or they just out there running?
I can play devil's advocate for you and say, yes, Boston hasn't seen anybody's going to shoot the ball like Golden State, but Golden State hasn't played anybody defensively like they're going to see in Boston. It's going to be up in you, going to be contesting every shot. It's going to be, if Golden State plays the way they can play, they game, but they're going to see a defensive team in Boston that they really haven't seen.
I think the only team they've seen like that was Memphis.
Right.
Young, athletic, in your face. Well, but I'm saying in your face, can keep up with you.
Right. I agree with that.
But, I mean, Boston is they're longer. That's the deal. Boston is longer. But like I said, my key is really simple. Can Jaylen Brown, first of all, can Jason Tatum consistently 7 games not have a one brain fart of a game? And can Jaylen Brown not have a brain fart?
They'll rotate 3 to 4 different guys onto Tatum all through the game.
Yes. And, and all of them are big like
Thompson, you'll rotate Porter, you'll rotate Wiggins.
And Poole at times.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's the thing about Golden State. They're long. They're like people talk about Boston's defense. Golden State's defense ain't shabby. Their defense is not shabby. And they're very, very smart. And their coaching staff is very knowledgeable and has teams figured out. Because it's like you and I talk about all the time. In the NBA playoffs, you got to scratch what happened in the season. Because now you aren't thinking, okay, well, I've got Boston today, then I've got the Mavericks 2 days from now, and then I've got Milwaukee the game after that, and then I've got to go play the Nets after that. I've just got to focus on what this team does for 2 weeks. That's it.
Definitely that the Golden State has the head coaching advantage.
Yes.
And the coaching staff advantage in this.
Yep.
Just on experience alone.
And players.
Yeah.
But my biggest fear, Drew, is can Boston withstand that 3 to 5 minute run? Can Boston not have brain farts with their guys? And number 3, and most importantly, can Jason Tatum maintain his level of play for 6 to 7 games along with 2 other guys going along with him, whether that's Jaylen Brown, Al Horford, Smart, whomever? Can he have 2 more guys go with him for 7 games? If they can, it will go 7. If they can for 6, it will go 6. But if they can only go 2 or 3, get 2 games where they're counter-matching Golden State, then Golden State will win a close game at the end, just like they did at Memphis. Remember, Memphis was beating Golden State in game 3 or 4 when they led for the whole game into the last 45 seconds and lost? Because experience, because not being able to close the door, because making bonehead plays. And let's face it, if you think that Golden State is not going to double team Jason Tatum and make somebody else beat them, they're going to do that.
Get the ball out of his hands.
Yep.
They're going to get the ball out of Tatum's hand and make somebody else beat him.
Make a play. And then Marcus doesn't learn from what he did against Miami, they will get swept or a gentleman's sweep.
Well, and a lot's going to depend on how the games are called. They're going to let him play. They're going to let Boston get up in him. They're going to call touch fouls. They call touch fouls. Boston will get beaten 5.
Yes.
They let Boston play him, push him around, get up in him, be physical. You might have a series on your hands.
Well, but I agree with that 100% as well. That should be another point of the points I made. That should be another point. But you know what? You know how that is, Drew. That's a game to game, depending on who's refereeing and how many they have different ways of calling games. Just you and I both played. I hated it when on one end you got this ref touchy. On the other end, that ref is letting you play. And you're like, bro, which one is it? Can I get after him? Can I not? Can I stick a bow in his gut a little bit? Can I elbow him in the ribs? Can I grab him? Can I pull his shirt out? Or can I not grab? Or can I not touch him? So those are the little things that I worry about. But I agree with you 100%. That's going to be a huge thing on how they call the game and how close it will be one way or the other. So, well, all right, bro, you on your way back yet?
I am. We're on the road, and we'll be back soon.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that.
Hopefully, I get back next couple weeks so we can get a live one going.
Yeah, we will. I'm looking forward to that, and hopefully everything goes well with like we talked about yesterday. Because remember, everybody, y'all can go to MCSPORTSNetwork.com and click on that, and then you can go and click on After the Storm, which is a show we have now for Thunder Thursdays, or you can do the Unpopular Hour or the Unpopular Hour on Wednesday, because we are on YouTube and we're on Twitch as well as Facebook. And you can go to Drew Henthorn at Drew Henthorn. You're just regular Drew Henthorn, aren't you? Yeah, regular Drew Henthorn. No, I'm talking about as far as your Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you
I
can
thought
go.
you were talking when I was. I thought you were talking about when I was out and about in the city.
Yeah, no, we ain't bringing that up, man. This is a family show today. We're talking kids watching
Oh,
the show.
gotcha.
We ain't talking about that. But anyway,
I
so
go by I go by David sometimes when I'm out.
that's what I heard. Yes, I'm Marcus. But like I said, anybody you go to, like I said, you could go back to MCSPORTSNetwork.com, click on that, and watch any of our shows. And we're also on YouTube. You can search YouTube After the Storm / OKC Thunder or The Unpopular Hour, Matt Clark, and you can watch any of our shows that way. So we'd like to, plus remember, you can go to HuskerDrewPicks.com. He's taking Golden State -3, Golden State in the first quarter -1, the Celtics, Golden State over 213 tonight. So that ought to be really interesting to see what happens with that, Drew. And by the way, early pick.
I've been on fire in the NBA.
Oh, what are you now? 40 something and 21 or something? Aren't you like 20, 25 picks up? Something stupid.
Yeah, about 25 over the number.
Yeah, that's just crazy, man. That's just insane. Definitely on fire right now. So who do you like right now? And what's your call?
Golden State in 6.
Yep, that's me. Same thing. Still, we talked about that Tuesday, and I still have not changed. I do believe Golden State will handle their business in 6. So, all right, my brother. Hey, you and Trish, be safe getting back to Omaha. And hey, where the dogs at? Are they in the back seat all passed out?
Oh, they stayed down here in the city.
Oh, they did. Oh, they couldn't leave their.
Dogs all stay in the city, and we'll be back soon.
Okay. All right, brother. Well, y'all be safe, and I'll holler.
All right, man.
All right, hey,
I
I appreciate you. Love you too, man. Be safe. That was my boy Drew Henthorn of HuskerDrewPicks.com. I want to take this opportunity to thank once again our sponsors. My boy Russell at Collaborative Logic. If you have any IT solutions, please look them up. These guys can help you. In fact, I'm going by to see them to get me all set up for our speakers and our equipment. SRB, if you got any engineering, surveying, or planning needs, those are your peeps that you need to holler at to get that done. And, of course, our boy Jose Fierro for any needs you might have as far as hauling any dirt, rocks, or anything like that. He is the man for that, as well as my boys Greg and Max, Nafy and Nafco. And then once again, remember our guys at YNB, family owned and operated since 1912, the bank that makes things happen. You can pre-qualify online at www.ynbok.com. That's www.ynbok.com. And we want to thank them for allowing us to go out and promote minority businesses around the city, minority and black-owned businesses around the city. We want to thank them for that. And like I said, we're going to be looking for sponsors to sponsor our women-only Wednesday show that will be women-only businesses. And so we're looking forward to do that. So we got big changes coming up for the month of June and in July, getting to the point where we can have you guys call in and do stuff like that. So we're really excited about that. And I want to, once again, thank you guys for your support of the Unpopular Hour, Matt Clark, and the Unpopular Hour Women Only Wednesdays, as well as After the Storm, our Thunder after game analysis, and right now our after season analysis and pre-draft picks and what we think the Thunder should do. So everybody be safe out there today. Do me a favor, stay dry. Be safe, stay dry.